Well, you know that Russia has vastly increased its gold reserves in recent years, and you hear this hailed all over the alternative media that they're going to take over the world, basically with their gold reserves. And the ruble will be the new international currency standard and world reserve currency. You'll commonly hear this all over the alternative media. But anyway, what's going on though is, this is telling you that the powers that be in the West, they got a game plan going, and it ain't stupid. I'll tell you that right now, man. So Russia's been increasing its gold reserves, and it looks like they might have to be selling off some of them. Actually, Russia has increased its gold reserves. They're the sixth largest country that has the most gold reserves, the sixth most tons of gold. Out of all the countries, number six in the world out of tons of gold is gold reserves. And that was a policy of Putin. But what's going on recently, though, is that they're having a lot of problems with paying for all the imports. They got a trade imbalance now because the price of oil went down, and 50% of the cash they get for exports is from oil. So they're having a major problem, right? So what's going to happen here is, you see the decline also in the ruble. So the ruble's actually paying for less. You need more rubles to pay for less goods, right? So the Central Bank of Russia has intervened and bought rubles to try to intervene and shore up their currency. But it's actually been sliding down for the last couple of years before they even did this attack on oil and gold and everything else, So now you look at the S&P, it's going way up. But, I keep thinking that I don't know when it's going to happen, but, I'd be like scared to jump in the S&P and the Dow right now. Although, if it corrects in 5 years from now, it could be double where it is today. I mean, that's part of the game. People sell out and when they get scared, and if the S&P corrected, say somebody jumped in there right now, hey man, it's going way up. Look, I missed out. Better jump in there now. Well, eventually even if it corrected 40-50% or more, eventually it would go way up if you had the patience. That's why you don't throw all your money into one area. But that was the same logic people were doing back when silver was going up. They're buying at 40-something dollars an ounce and saying, oh, yeah, it's going to go to at least 100. They guaranteed it, Sure. But anyway, gold's getting crushed, and it looks like since they got this major problem with funding the imports in Russia, they're going to have to maybe sell some of it off. They're also proposing, the Russian Ministry of Finance is actually proposed spending cuts of about 10% on its country's budget, and this is at a time when Putin wants to expand bases in Russian satellite countries and also up in the Arctic where the oil is. So, guy's not guy. But you know what might be going on here? You might be having a orchestrated bunch of BS, almost like good cop versus bad cop, with this stuff with Putin in the West. He's being made to look like the good guy, or maybe he's just, his news outlet is making him look like the good guy. I don't know, man. But, with Russia, Russia in a pinch right now, actually, they got to have 6 months worth of reserves left. And what's going on right now is the way things are going, they got only 6 months of Russian imports, or they can only cover 6 months of Russian imports in a severe crisis with the reserves they got right now, which would actually be half the reserves. They need the other half to fund the government. So they're probably going to start selling off some of their gold, which is like one of the worst things you could possibly do. Sell off the gold when it's at a low and it's freaking going even lower. It looks like it's going lower. That's like the worst freaking investment strategy you could possibly do, but they probably have their hands forced right now. So you think this isn't planned? I think it's planned. The freaking yo-yos are all, actually the Russian reserves from this year, at the beginning of this year, were $509 billion. Now they're down to $439 billion, measured in dollars, because the ruble is First off, they got to cover the import imbalance, the import to trade imbalance. And the other thing is the ruble's declining, so that's less dollars they got declining against the dollar, less dollars they have to actually fund the government. But knowing Putin, you never know, man. He might pull the military option. You never know with this guy, to tell you the truth. But, there's other things going on, too. The U.S. is probing some of Putin's inner circle for money laundering, which is kind of a joke because if you look at what goes on in Congress and the Senate, they could probably nail all of those son of a bitches in here for all kinds of stuff. But, hey, that's what they're doing. But, the whole thing, it could be contrived. Maybe this is something that's going to be leading up to something later on that will be conflict. Possibly. I'm smelling this. I don't know. I don't want that to happen. I mean, it's one thing about having conflict in the Middle East and, the Saudis and the Iranians fight each other. That's fine by me. But it's another thing if there's a conflict between Russia and the United States. I wouldn't want that to happen because that's mutually assured destruction, but maybe that's what the New World Order yo-yos want out of this eventually. But you can be assured of one thing. The people that are going to be holding the gold in the long run are going to be the churches, the religious. It's like, the government's has a problem. They only got so many gold reserves, but the holy men, the Vatican, and over there in Moscow, the Orthodox, whatever the hell they are, they're going to keep their money. And it's the same way in India with their priests and everything else. They got all the jewelry and the gold, and none of it's accounted for any place. They just have it. It's been there for thousands of years, and it's ours. And give to us because, so when we're talking politics and economics, I got to, display the biggest racket going here. It's basically organized religion. So that's the biggest racket going. But it looks like Russia's going to have to be selling off some of their gold. And I don't know. I don't know what the hell the deal is with this Putin guy because in some ways I think he's stupid. But then again, he's really smart. I'm not saying he's stupid. But in some ways, by him playing his stupid little game in the Crimea, it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth it. When you look at what it implicated, it wasn't worth it. But then again, you don't know. There could be something else going on here where they got something devised where there's going to be a plan to depopulate the world. Who the hell knows? Whether through conflict and not just Ebola, but military means. And Mr. KGB over here just might be the guy that freaking does it, So, but anyway, he's being forced to sell. He might be. Not just yet. But if things go the way they are, they're going to be forced to sell gold at a very low. So, anyway, just want to put this tidbit out here because you think the Western elite are stupid? Nah, they're not stupid. But hang on, because eventually the stuff is going to go way up. Maybe after Russia gets forced to sell their gold reserves, it'll go way up. Right? That would make sense, right? I don't know. We'll see. The situation could be totally different by next year. And that's one of the reasons I was putting out this, it's a minor thing I'm doing with the HHO in the car. But, and it doesn't, unfortunately it doesn't work on computerized cars too well. But you might be seeing record high gasoline prices next year. It might be a totally different situation. And if that's the case, you're going to need your silver to pay your bills on your home heating oil, your electricity, your food, and all other stuff. Don't sell now. But it looks like an international game that's going on against Russia and Iran. And but I don't think they can keep this up forever. I don't know how they're doing this. I mean, it's amazing. Look at the spot market. It's going down. What does that mean? If you look at reality is the mines are losing money. If they're losing money, you can almost argue with gold, but how the hell could you argue with silver? You need the stuff or not? You need the stuff, right? You need palladium, you need platinum. Maybe gold sits in the bank, right? But the other three, what about the other three? So how could the economy be doing so good if the other three are going down? So, I have to say that, I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to do that in the markets. I think the spot market's rigged. And there's a game. There's a game. It's going against Putin. And it looks like very soon they're going to have to start selling off their gold reserves at a lower price than what they paid for the gold. Because they accumulated gold in the last few years. Probably a good amount of that accumulation has been when it was at the height. And you know, here's another angle. You don't even know if these guys got stuck with fake gold. And when they go to sell it on the open market, you know, with the new electronic instruments out there, they're going to be able to determine if it's fake real fast, you know what I mean? Which means they get the double whammy, right? And if they have any fake gold, you think they're going to try to sell the fake before the real? Another interesting angle, huh? So I think, I don't know. But I keep thinking, you know what Putin's going to do? Bam! I don't know, man. Just like he did in Crimea. Anyway, tanks rolling into Wall Street. Dun, 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 dun. We'll have his RT Russian network over there taking pictures of tanks rolling into Wall Street. You know, it's a people's revolution. We have the Moscow tanks with the red star coming into Russia into Wall Street. We have to. The people want it. The people want it. You know, according to Putin, anyway. Anyway, over and out. So, I don't know, man. I don't think this is going to lead to some good stuff, though, to tell you the truth. So, we shall see. But not too much. I don't know if anybody on it. I don't watch the alternative media. I don't know if anybody's telling you that Russia might have to be selling its gold really soon. A lot of it. Not all of it. But they got a major problem coming up. They don't have enough reserves. The situation keeps continuing the way it is. Oil prices are down in the 70s. And again, oil prices are just above the break-even point for the U.S. oil. Would you find that interesting? Find that interesting or what? You know, if I was a betting man, I'd be betting that somebody up there in Wall Street's got these high-end quantum computers and they're doing this, and it's working perfectly. You know. Actually, that's what I think they did to Japan way back when they had their big boom in the 80s, and they went into the age of stagnation after that, and everybody thought Japan was going to win out and be the dominant force in the world, and all of a sudden, wham, right? I think that came from Wall Street, to tell you the truth. So, we shall see. But don't count on the dollar to be freaking strong forever, because the globalist game plan is to even out all the nations in the earth, which includes the United States. You know, Wall Street yo-yos on the top might have the new, you know, SDR, special drawing rights currency or some garbage way before the rest of the population has it, and they'll be secure. We won't. The only way we're going to be secure is we stick with these metals, even though they look like a bad investment right now. The situation can change very, very rapidly, and I think it will after they get the desired effect against Russia.